solution for online video publishers. We help publishers monetize their online video. So
that's always a good thing.
Just like publishers, traditional web publishers have needed to have an ad server or an ad serving solution to help them manage their ads in their web pages. When you move to online video, those solutions tend to break down. The video has a temporal component, sort of the most major thing, and also, until recently, there haven't been very good standards for online video, so it's required a lot of manual work in your video player and in your web page to actually get all the ads for online video to display. And so we eliminate, all of that technical challenge and provide a solution that makes it very easy for publishers to traffic their own ads in online video, set up their viewer experience, what kind of ad load, how many breaks, how many ads in each break, and so on, and also connect to non-standard sources of ads like ad networks, video, custom video ad networks, and so on.
So give me one or two examples of big customers.
Right, so I'm not sure which ones I'm allowed to talk about, but we have very good partnerships with customers across the range. We work with some very large broadcasters that have an online video presence, of course, and tend to work with their TV content, putting their TV content online and monetizing it. And we also work with a lot of the emerging sort of new online video publishers who are building content or having their users generate content specifically designed for the internet. Tends to be shorter form, although some of those are long form as well. And really our product is well suited for either.
And each of those, every customer probably has their current video platform vendor and provider, so you integrate with the Brightcoves of the world and kind of the other platform companies?
Yeah, definitely. So we have a great partnership with Brightcove. We are integrated with the Brightcove player. We're integrated as well with lots of other player providers or video content management systems like Kaltura or vMix or the platform and so on and so forth. And Brightcove's been a great partner for us. And actually I think there's a very complementary relationship between the video CMS or player providers and an online ad solution. I think that those technologies are not very overlapping, but any online video publisher that wants to come and do build a significant business is really going to need both kinds of technology, and they don't necessarily come bundled together. I think it's been interesting to see the evolution of the industry. Brightcove, the platform, Uyala, Kaltura have all built small amounts of ad functionality, but not enough to really run a business. You can't, fulfill IOs and forecast your inventory and do detailed ad tracking and so on and so forth. Often there's a limited amount of ad insertion capability, but when you bring in a platform like ours, you
that
really get
only focuses on that.
You get the complete solution.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So let's talk about the different types of advertising that a publisher can layer into their video, and where's the innovation? So obviously you have the pre-roll, the mid-roll, the post-roll, the overlay.
Right.
But what types of advertising do you help advertisers or publishers deliver? And then where are you seeing what for you is the most exciting, maybe new emerging type of ad delivery?
Right. It's a great question. So I think we all agree that online video advertising has a huge potential, right? It can be extremely powerful. And I think everyone also agrees that pre-roll ad units aren't the best. They're not the end of they're not delivering the most value to viewers and advertisers and publishers, and that probably something much, much better exists. In reality,
though, the question is what is
right. So I'll get there. So today, though, just to be clear, the overwhelming volume of ad spending going on in online video is taking 15 and 30-second spots intended for TV and repurposing them, re-encoding them, and displaying them in online video. And that's currently, if I'm just advising an online publisher today, I'll say, look, this is where you're going to do most of your business right now. Now that said, there are some really neat features of our platform that make it very possible to innovate in ad formats, and a lot of our publishers are actually doing that. They're starting to participate in things like The Pool, which are testing out new innovative formats, or trying out some of the ad formats that people associate now with Hulu, where the viewers get some choice and so on. And the reason is that we have a very modular architecture in our ad player plugin that allows users to create different plugins very quickly without having to redeploy their player. And we give them sort of the API and the tools to do that. And so a number of our publishers have been testing new formats and are able to run different formats side by side and see how they perform, and do that as part of a value that they provide to their advertiser. And so things I'm excited about, just since you asked. Anything that increases engagement, right? Like,
that's the big word.
Yeah, that's the obvious thing. And I'm not a brand advertiser, but when I put myself in the shoes of a brand advertiser, I think, what am I trying to get out of this? Obviously, I'm trying to increase awareness of my brand, or maybe other metrics of brand association and so on. But I'm also and there's this continuum of the conversion funnel. I may be interested in actually getting them to take some action right now. But no matter where you are in that funnel, you want to sort of grab your users' attention. And there are some very cool numbers that have come out recently. I think eMarketer put out a great online video advertising survey recently, talking about different kinds of engagement that happen. With different formats, and click-through rates and engagement levels are much higher when you take the time to do a custom format. And just, there's an obvious issue there, which the spots that were designed for TV don't have any call to action. Yeah. Like, it's just sort of the glaring obvious thing that everyone needs to do sort of right now. Sure, it's fine to repurpose those spots, but at least, put an overlay on them or something, that reminds the user that these spots are clickable, that if they do click on them, or in some cases even mouse over them, there are much more opportunities for them to learn about the product, the brand, whatever it is.
So can you give me an example of an execution of something a little more engaging that you saw? Maybe you were on ESPN or some other site and you were like, that's pretty cool. That makes me proud to be in this industry.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned earlier the Hulu ads. I think Hulu has been a great leader in this area, where they're allowing the user to choose what kind of ad they want. Before, and then they're going to watch a number of ads over the course of long-form video. So
before they even start watching their 30-minute television show, they can say, I'd be more interested in this type of ad versus that type of ad.
Yeah, exactly, okay. Right. And this is, I think, respectful to the viewer, and also delivers a lot of value to the advertiser. I don't think, though, I'd actually be much more interested. Often they've done those kind of campaigns with a particular advertiser, right? So they've, I remember one case study I saw them present, which was around working with Absolute vodka, and they have different flavors of Absolute. And they're saying, would you like your ads in this program to be, Absolute, whatever the 3 different fruits were, right? And that's, that's of some value, but I imagine that many users watching that show actually aren't interested in that product at all, right? And so it'd be wonderful if instead you could be like, hey, are you more interested in an ad on, a new Prius, Absolute vodka, or, consumer packaged good, some sort of health
Snickers
product or something, right? Whatever it is, exactly. And let the user pick. And of course, the user doesn't have to pick. You'll move on, and the content will display and so on. You can't hold up forever waiting for the user. But if they do pick one, right, which actually the click-through rates are very, very high in doing this, then they're actually very engaged with those ads. They want to see what they got, right? They're very engaged with the ads. And maybe they don't even like Snickers that much, but they liked it better than Absolute Vodka and Prius. And I think there's a lot of potential in this area. And we've done a viewer choice ad campaign like this with one of our customers, and it had very high engagement rates. It was very successful.
So let's talk analytics and measurement. I'm assuming you have some pretty robust tools. What are the types of things that you're helping publishers and advertisers to measure and track?
Yeah, measurement is, I think, at the core of advertising and monetizing online video. And there's really two ways you can use measurement, very broadly stated. One is obviously from the publisher perspective, and we're here at Streaming Media, so we're really thinking about the publishers trying to build their business and so on and so forth, and they need analytics to understand which of their different ad strategies are working for them, right? What kind of ad load should they be using? So they want to be comparing, they want to be looking at the number of clips or the number of playlists watched or the number of minutes watched by a user during a session, and comparing different ad strategies. So, what if I try overlays? What if I try 15-second spots? What if I try 30-second spots? What number of spots and so on is going to have the best trade-off between keeping my users engaged and keeping them involved in watching video, and also being able to deliver some revenue, right? So we deliver a platform that allows users to do publishers to do the sort of A/B testing and pick the best, advertising or monetization strategies for them. But then there's the whole other side of the telescope, right? And that's the brand advertiser. And I think that, publishers should absolutely keep that foremost in their minds. I think a lot of publishers don't think about monetization first, they think about it second. First they think about, oh, I want to build my audience, I have this great idea, I love snowboarding, I've got my snowboarding videos, my snowboarding content, I built this awesome, the best site ever for snowboarders, and then, oh yeah, we got to put ads in it. And really the publisher is in between the advertiser and the viewer, and they need to actually start with, not start, but one of the starting points needs to be, who are my advertisers? What kind of advertisers are interested in sponsoring this content, and how do I help them meet their needs, right? And of course, working with an ad platform that is video specific is very helpful there, because the kinds of things that advertisers want to know is, they want to know like what's working and what's not working, right? Which audience did I reach? Did I reach my target audience? Was it an efficient spend in terms of trying to reach my target audience? And then how did the ad perform? And that's this big, when you hear in the advertising circles these days, you hear a lot about ad performance and trying to tune a campaign for ad performance, or using, sophisticated trading platforms to maximize performance and so on. And that's still somewhat a gray area, but I think that online video is just, perfectly designed to help advertisers actually measure some kind of performance that's useful to them. And today they're mostly measuring click-through rate, and it is still a highly variable number. It depends exactly on the implementation of the way that player presents the ad, and whether it looks clickable or not, and whether there might be false clicks coming from somewhere else, and so on and so forth. The user's intent is very hard to measure there, and it varies a lot across platforms. But there are other things that come in video that are from a brand advertiser, and that we can track, much more useful, like ad completion rates, looking at sort of curves of people watching the ad over time. I mean, that alone is very powerful. And then if you do have a call to action, and the call to action is very well defined, like click here for more information about the 2010 Prius, and you get clicks on that, then it's that's a very clear user intent. That's a clear sign of engagement. And we're in this Flash and HTML environment and delivering video, and those are very easy things to implement, sort of relative to if you have some campaign offline, or if you have some campaign in sort of ad units all over the web, it's much harder to do those things.
So one of the cool things you mentioned, and I think I understood correctly, was you have a plugin architecture whereby if a publisher wants to innovate with a new type of ad offering, a hotspot overlay, something or other that doesn't exist, they can actually build that and then plug it right into the platform. Yeah,
that's right. They can build it, we can build it, it doesn't matter. But the thing that makes it, about our platform that makes it really easy, and we designed this very early on because we realized that innovating on ad formats was going to be a need, is that it is modular, right? So we have a very clearly defined API. You don't need to make changes to your web page or to your video player or anything. You can just design a new ad player, test it in a new ad unit, test it in a testing unit, and deliver it now via our platform, because our platform's already set up for that. And by the way, the existence of the vPaid standard was very helpful on this front for us, because vPaid actually gave us just a common language to have all of the different plugins speak. So all of our plugins internally speak vPaid. So if you design an ad unit using vPaid, and you need to traffic it, and you're a publisher and use one source and you want to traffic it on in our system, it's effortless.
Can you just quickly tell people what vPaid is?
Oh, sure. So vPaid is one of the standards that have come out of the IAB Digital Video Working Committee recently. The first and probably the best adopted, and I think the most important, is VAST. And the VAST standard is basically a common language for video players and ad servers to speak that describe some very common types of video ads, like a pre-roll video spot, or an overlay, for example. Those are both supported very natively in VAST. And it's a very simple standard to implement, because basically it's very much like a common ad server paradigm, where there's an ad request in a certain format, and what comes back is an ad response, and the ad response is in a specific language of XML. And just a side note on the VAST standard, we've implemented the VAST standard since it was built, and it provides a lot of value, I think, to publishers and to advertisers. But the IAB Digital Video Committee is about, actually they have just released VAST 2, and VAST 2 is basically, it's very similar to VAST 1, but unfortunately the way the committee came out, made the decision, they decided not to have it be backward compatible. So all of us now need to go on and support VAST 2 in addition to VAST 1. We're working on that now, and I don't think it'll take us very long, because the plugin architecture, I think in a few weeks, will be VAST 2 compatible, which is good. And vPaid is a much more complicated standard because VPaid basically provides a common language for two different pieces of software to communicate. So it can exist in JavaScript, it can exist in Flash. The VPaid, I think, that's most relevant for online video is Flash, not surprisingly. So there's an ActionScript 2 version, an ActionScript 3 version. In the ActionScript 3 version, you download a Swift that's in ActionScript 3 into an environment that is also ActionScript 3. And this allows those two Swifts to speak to each other. So it allows the ad unit to interact with the video player on very important things like pausing the video, changing the mute, the volume, muting or unmuting the volume of the video, things like that, which are things that, parts of the complexity of online video advertising, and that, it's not enough, I think, in interactive online video advertising to just, insert an ad. You actually want the ad to be able to interact or, affect the playback of the video. And so VPaid was designed to do that, and, we use VPaid internally, and, I don't think actually that many advertisers will be supporting it anytime soon, but it is an important standard, if at very least, to make sure that ad units sort of behave the same way internally within organizations.
All right, Teg, well, thanks for joining me. And before I let you go, are there any announcements you're making here at Streaming Media West, or are you guys quiet?
What kind of announcements are you making, Masami? Oh, yeah. Okay, so fair enough. Yeah, this month we do actually have a very exciting announcement, which is that, and we have a press release out about it and so on, so you can read more about it on our website. But we are basically now compliant with the IAB measurement standards for digital video, and that means that when advertisers work with OneSource and their ads are trafficked through OneSource, they can count on the numbers that they get back. So we count an impression and a click in the ways that the IAB defines an impression and a click, and it's been a long road doing that. It's not a trivial set of guidelines to implement, but we did it. We've been certified by a third party, and now we join the ranks of other illustrious online advertising companies like DoubleClick and Atlas and so on. And we're proud that we're offering that level of assurance to advertisers and publishers.
Great, I appreciate the time, and just so you all know, this man is single-handedly keeping hundreds of people here till the very end of the conference, as he's speaking later today.
That's right, yeah, I think we're speaking at
Day
2 o'clock.
3.
Yep, 2 o'clock as part of a panel session on monetization.
Great, I appreciate it.
Great, nice talking to you, Peter.